This is the QIDI Box video 2. We're going to go over real quick how to set things up on the UI on the front of the QIDI Plus 4. Then we're going to get inside the QIDI Studio, and I'm going to show you real quick how to get things up and get it synced in there. Let's get this out of the way real quick. QIDI sent me the QIDI Box for free. I did not pay them. They did not pay me. No money has exchanged hands in either direction. Let's get right into it. Actually, there's one thing I forgot to mention on the last video. Let me just show you. On QIDI's website, they do mention that on the back of the machine, there's a vent for drying. So if you turn the heater on, but you don't have this vent open, all you're gonna do is heat the filament. Quick little life hack for you folks. I hate that phrase, life hack. Do you hate that? I don't know why, it just rubs me the wrong way. Here's a life hack for you. If you don't actually open a vent, or if your dryer doesn't have a vent built in that's just open, guess what? You're not drying filament, you're just heating it up. And I gotta tell you, hot filament ain't the same as dry filament, folks. Before we get into how to use the display and all that stuff, I just want to say that when I first got this, I was thinking, this is awesome. I'm going to be able to use any filament I want. Well, I mean, you can kind of use whatever filament you want. The problem's going to come in with the spool. And I learned this one the hard way already. So let's go over real quick which spools you can and can't use. QIDI says you can use any spool that has a width of 50 to 72 millimeters and a diameter from 195 to 202 millimeters. So you know what that means? That means this cutest little sample spool from Spectrum, it's not going to work. And it's cardboard. What else do we have here? This is one of my favorite blacks of all times. This is Jessie Soul Black. I believe it's a glitter. It's fantastic. Jessie's coming in at 74 millimeters wide and 230 tall. This is the one I really had a problem with. This is probably the filament I have the most of, is Jessie, either PETG or PLA. And it's not just Jessie, there's a few others that come with a spool just like this. Some of you might recognize this. Push Plastic uses this spool, a few other places. This is not going to work on the QIDI Box. Next up, you probably know what this spool is. This is Bamboo. Bamboo will work on the QIDI Box. Bamboo's coming at 67 wide and 200 on the diameter. And this works just fine. I do have a fair bit of this also. And this is QIDI filament. Of course, QIDI filament works on the QIDI Box. Big surprise there. But just so you have all the information, QIDI is coming in at 69 wide and 195 on the diameter. Now, I don't know if all QIDI filaments come with this size spool, but no matter what size it comes in, if it's a QIDI filament, I'm pretty sure it's going to work on the QIDI Box. Then we have this. This is 3DO. I absolutely love this color. I call it pop green. I think they call it rat rig green. This is another one. This spool you'll see by a few different companies. I've had this from, I don't know who else I got a spool from. I have a lot of spools over there. I think I got a spool from Prusa that's like this. Anyways, this spool's coming in at 69 wide and 200 diameter. And again, I don't know if all of the 3DO filaments are going to come on this spool, but this is, I believe this is PETG. It is. This is PETG, and that's what I have on this one. Next up, Elegoo. Now, this stuff, oh my God. So this is another one. I'm not sure if all Elegoo filaments come on this spool, but I buy a lot of this. I get it cheap and I go through it. Oh my gosh. This is the Elegoo, just plain PETG. And this spool is coming in at 61 wide, pretty narrow, and 196 in diameter. And I don't know if the other stuff with PLA or their Rapid or what other filaments they sell, if it comes in this same spool, but I can tell you those are the dimensions on this one. And this one will work in the QIDI Box. Next up, I think everyone can recognize this spool. This is what? That's right, Filament. These little hexagons on the side give it away. So this, one of my favorite colors, Prussian Orange. This happens to be 70 millimeters wide and 199 in the diameter. So this will work in the QIDI box. In fact, right now, I'm loaded up with all 4 spools of Filament in there, and it's printing just fine. And it should be worth noting that this same spool is going to be for PLA, PETG, ASA. They all come with this. I don't know on some of the exotic stuff if that does. I'm sure it probably comes on the same spool though. So you're covered on that. Last but not least, Polymaker. And this is such a fantastic purple, isn't it? I love that color. And I'm not a purple fan. Anyways, this filament is 66 wide and 199 on the diameter. Dimensionally, this will fit in the QIDI box. This brings you to a whole nother problem though. This system, like many others, does not recommend that you use cardboard spools. QIDI box is the same way. Don't use cardboard spool, they say. I've seen people use this. I haven't tried. I will eventually, but kind of a rule follower. We'll get to it though. Now, that being said, if you are worried about it, you can print these little rings that go on the outside. But what's a 66? Miss Filament Factory, what is the dimensions that QIDI says I can have total? 72, and this is 66. So I think you'd have plenty of room. If you did print those little rings that go on the outside, say you don't want this dust getting in there, clogging things up, you'd probably still be fine. Now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at the display. Okay, let's go over a couple things on the interface on the +4 that controls the QIDI box. So this is the home screen. First thing you're going to want to do is push this control button. Next, you see that icon at the top right of the QIDI box? We're going to touch that. That gets us into the QIDI box interface. Now, you can see all 4 of the colors there are titled PLA. Let's say we wanted to change one of them or make an edit. First thing you do is touch the spool. Now, if you hit this button at the top with that little arrow going around it, what that does is it puts the QIDI box into search mode where it searches for the RFID, and it's going to rotate the filament trying to find that RFID tag. Now, if you want to make an edit to the others, you do the same thing. You highlight the box. Once it has the blue ring around it, that's when you can edit it. You can change the vendor, the brand of filament. You can change the type. You can change the color. This here, the temperature, that looks like it's nozzle temp, and I do not believe you can change that. Let's see. No, those are locked in. You're going to make those changes in the slicer. Then we hit confirm, and it takes us back to the front. And you can go along and you just make the change to each filament as you load it. Load takes it to the tool head. Unload brings it from the tool head back just behind the buffer. Eject ejects the filament, and this button here is just for settings. This back arrow will take you back to this menu. This button, it always takes you out of this menu. So if you're in the QIDI box menu and you're in this, and let's say you're just finished with it, if you hit this button, it'll take you all the way out. I think that's it. Oh, one more thing that's worth covering. The heater. So you touch the heater, and then hold on. It's not going to let us turn the heater on with PLA, but let's go back. Let's change all of this to ASA. Confirm this one. ASA. Back, confirm. So all of them say ASA now. Let's launch the heater. There it is. 45C is what it wants us to set the maximum temp at. So let's just go for 40. Then you hit the box and it's going to turn the heater on, and it also changes it to red. Now let's say, oh, that's 40. We can go to 45. Let's change this to 45. There it is. Our new temp is 45. and you can see the current temp is 30. It's going to go to 45, and that's the humidity level. But let's see if we can turn this off from here. 0. Perfect, and it turned off. You can hear it running. That's going to run for a little while. It takes a little while for it to actually turn off. Another thing, don't forget, you have to open that little tab if you want to actually dry the filament. Otherwise, we're just heating it, which there's nothing wrong with that. If your filament's already dry, sometimes you just need it warm. Now this button here, rack, I still haven't figured this out yet. If one of you know, let me know. Otherwise, I'll try to figure out how to work that. But that's it. And then we exit out of here and we're back at the home screen. Let's head over to QIDI Slicer and I'll show you a couple things there. All right, we're looking at QIDI Studio here. Up here in the top left, you can see it has the printer chosen. And in the middle here, it says textured sheet. And then next to that is sync. We're going to get into that in just a moment. First, let's work on the model here. This is the model. I don't know if you guys have painted anything with a 3D printer before, but it's pretty easy sometimes. If you're getting into using the brush, it can be very tedious. But for what we're going to do right here, it's very easy. Choose a few colors. All right. There we go. Now we slice. It's going to print, but let's sync. We forgot to sync it. So this is what I thought I had on there. Let's sync it and then let's see what the printer says. Yep, CHEVY, that's my printer. Let's sync. So this is what I say it is. That's what it says right here. It's right here, and we're going to map it. So we want it to match. We're going to go off of what the printer says. Now, if you overwrite it, these numbers, these values would stay. So let's synchronize though. Uh-oh, here we go. There's some unknown or uncompatible filaments, blah, blah, blah. So 1A and 1B are ASA. And that is what we have. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this because I know I only have 2 filaments in there. So let's go here and look at that. Number 1 is black, ASA. Number 2 is gray, ASA. There it is. Now we can reslice. The timing will probably be the same. Yep, 6 hours, 33 minutes. 6 hours is what we had before. It's a couple minutes longer for ASA than PLA, but the waste is exactly the same. That's it. Then you just hit print plate and you can send it. Let's go over some of the prints that I've done on the QIDI box. Let's start with this. We're going to start with a failure. I only had a couple failures. So this was a brutal one. 18-hour print. This was 14 hours in. And I did it to myself, guys. I used this roll of filament, not this roll, but I used Jesse. I was using Jesse filament. That's the problem, right? And it does go ahead and load though, right? It loaded and then it worked along and it was doing it. It did pretty good for how far I got, right? But eventually it was just too much. And I was there and I kept trying to restart, like, you can do it, buddy. Restart, restart. And I kept hitting the reprint, start to print over, and it just wouldn't do it. Finally, I realized it's no longer printing. It's just printing in the air. And there was missed layers. So we gave it all we could. I love this print. It just didn't work. And it wasn't QIDI's fault. It's my fault. I was using the wrong filament. So that one stung a little bit. That was a long print to fail. Next up, let's just get the failures out of the way. Let's get them all done here. This is the coolest little print. I love this thing. Oh, you can't tell what it is, huh? That's because it failed. Why did you, Miss Filament Factory, do you know why this failed? Do you remember? Was this the wrong filament also? I'm a slow learner, folks. This actually, to be fair, this was the first failure. All right. But I'm no quitter. So I redid it. Boom. And who says a lower truck can't haul a load, right? These are, by the way, these are all the little purge blocks, I guess, purge towers. So this is where that one ended. I redid it right here. So that's the purge block for the completed one. Now you're probably thinking, oh yes, but these are all, you print separately and you glue the pieces on. That's one way of doing it. but because I'm trying to show off how the QIDI prints, I didn't do it that way. As you can see here, I had the headlights going right in it. So I did the headlights in it, the tail lights, the side windows are all in there. This front windshield, obviously you have to print that separate because the way it comes out. But otherwise that was, oh, and the grill. The grill is separate. Otherwise, this was all printed on it, except for the rims, tires, grill, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it came out very nice. All that, and it'll haul a load. What's next? Let's park this guy over by Yoda. He'll probably be driving that home tonight. This here. These are so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. So these carrots, right? Love them. There's a planter box. There's some dirt in there. And then look at this. Ready for it? Uh-oh, wait. What about the little one? Surely that doesn't do it too. Yes, it does. And don't call me Shirley. All of them. Very cute. So adorable. Love it. What a fun print. So obviously the box is one print. The insert, the brown, that's a separate print. But what is multicolor is the carrot, where it goes from the orange to the green. And technically though, you don't need a multicolor unit to do this. You could print it, pause it, do a change color, and then swap it out the green and keep going. I happen to do this on the QIDI box because I didn't want to stop and babysit it. I just put all of them on one plate and let it run. So this is my purge block for the carrots. There's no purge block for these other ones because I just did, it was one color at a time. We're getting stacked up here, y'all. Next up, oh, this is kind of a boring one, but I can't help it. I like these little containers. Ooh, yeah. Miss Filament Factory, can you open that? Just crack it loose for me. Let's see if I can catch it. Oh, good job. All right. Obviously, this is done separate. That's not impressive, but this is pretty cool. I started out with one color. This doesn't unscrew. That's a part of it. So that's why it has the little purge block there. You can see where it started to go black. But it's a good little container. I don't know what you would put in it. Whatever you want contained. Oh, here. Let's start off right now. Done. I'm using it for the first time right here. You're seeing it. But that's cute. Next up. Oh, you know what? I don't think I can do a video without printing a Benchy. I can't help myself. And this is the little purge tower. This poor little Benchy, rough seas ahead. You know, he didn't get the warning. So always check the weather, folks. I went out on Lake Tahoe one time on kayaks. Ooh, and I didn't check the weather. We were way out there too. We started out in like Kings Beach. I don't know if you know, we're familiar with Tahoe. We paddled all the way across. We were like by Sand Harbor. And then we started working our way up to Incline Village, and we're going to go back over to Kings Beach, right? Right about then, when we were coming from Sand Harbor up though, this horrendous wind came, and there was huge like white caps. We barely made it. We made it over to the side where some rocks were, and Miss Filament Factory was there. We barely got the kayaks out. It was ugly. There were some people there luckily helped us drag the kayaks up because they were full of water. We were going down, folks. And anyways, check your weather before you go boating. That's the life lesson for today, I guess. That and dry filament is not hot filament, or vice versa. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. These things, these are so handy. I use these all the time. You know, you'll be working on a project and you don't have time to put everything exactly back in the right spot. I just throw them in a cup or a bowl or whatever, right? Then when I'm done, I'll use these and go through and figure out where they go. Now I had these, where's the old ones? Let's see, I have one up here. This is the first one I printed. This is a bamboo file, and I really like the file, except at the time, this is the only PLA I had, and bamboo only gave you the G code for PLA. So I had to use these colors, and they don't contrast very well, so it's kind of hard to see. So I found these on printables, and again, all the links for these will be in the description. But I found this on printables, so I was able to redo it now in a filament that I can actually read. That's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that. This is not done. That is a part of this. And last but not least, purge block and 2 of the cutest little platypuses you've ever seen. Oh my God, aren't those cute? I think this box does a fantastic job. I'm very impressed. One thing that should be pointed out is this here. You can see when you get up close on it, it didn't do a great job on the edges. So far, this is the only thing that the QIDI Box hasn't done just an excellent job on. But this constant white to black, I guess it was just too much for the QIDI Box to keep up. That was a pretty demanding print. That, and then I had the wrong, oh, see, I keep reading that. I was running the wrong filament through it also. I think the combination of both of those probably was just too much for it. QIDI Box tapped out. Anyways, that's it. As you can see, I've printed plenty of cool things. This is quite the scene here. Have any of you been to the Opera House? It is fantastic. I mean, I was there. I don't recall seeing any platypuses. I did see plenty of cool cars there, and this would actually have to be like back here, back behind it. There's like this big park with like a garden, huge trees and plants. I don't remember seeing any carrots, but this would be cool. And I didn't see any shipwrecked Benchies either, though, in the harbor there, but it could happen. Anyways, you can see I've created this whole scene here, all this done with the QIDI Box. I am pleasantly pleased with how it acts and the prints it puts out. It poops, right? That is what AMS, CFS systems do. They drop a lot. And guess what? I still didn't back it up because I still think that's weird, okay? It's down there on the floor, underneath the cabinet. I don't even want to look at it. Anyways, there's going to be plenty of people, there already have been plenty of people that are kind of trashing the QIDI Box. And I'm not saying that some of the things they are bringing up aren't valid. I'm sure they are. All I can do is talk about my experience, though. And for me, this just works. I will tell you this, though. All the old stuff and half of this was done on the old software update. And the new software update, the rest of this was printed. And it works the same either way for me. And then I'm not saying somebody else's experiences are not true. I'm sure they are. I'm just sharing with you what I went through. This is it. It just works. It's cute. The lines, the transitions are great. Like, I'm happy. Thanks for watching the video. Unless you were going for the X to close this out and you accidentally watched it, in that case, welcome to the channel.